Hello guys, it's Dmitry here, and today I would like to discuss about another really exciting topic. It's called object or objects in JavaScript. So let's move on to VS Code, and here I just copied some comments because I found probably it's better to read them. Probably it would make more sense to you, or otherwise it would confuse you, and then I'll going to explain. Okay, objects may be defined as another collection of related data. And also, I'm not going to read like line by line, right? Also, I'm just going to explain in general, but based on these sentences. So also, it's really important to understand that object as a collection, it stores keys and corresponding values of these keys. So also, the keys can store values, or it can store methods, or it can store different types of data. Basically, each key can store. So, and also guys, previously I mentioned a bit about so-called mutations. So idea is, sometimes in software development, software developers would like to keep data as immutable and sometimes mutable. So now I'm going to explain what this mutation is. So in general, when you say mutable data, it means you can assume we have an array, right? And I'm going to say this array is mutable. It means that later on I'm going to change this array, right? For instance, I'm going to add extra elements, or I'm going to delete some of the elements of this array. And in this case, I'm going to say this array is mutable. You can mutate it, right? You can mutate the data of this array. But sometimes, like in your project, you would like to keep data as immutable. So in this case, essentially, what we're saying is, please don't touch this data, right? Or don't touch this array, keep it as it is, and don't mutate it. But essentially, in case of object and array, both these data structures, we can mutate them, right? If you would like to do that. So essentially, we can make changes inside of these data structures. Hope it makes sense, guys. And also, it's more to that, right? Because like when we say some data structures can be immutable, essentially, I believe, and maybe I'm not 100% correct, but if I'm not 100% correct, later on I will going to verify, and I'm going to clarify as soon as I find that I'm not 100% correct. But my belief is, majority of data or data structures, they can be mutable. But in this case, specifically, I'm talking about arrays and objects. They can be mutable. Okay, guys, it was just kind of introduction, right? And now I'm going to talk specifically about objects. I'm going to show what the object is, and I'm going to show how to create the object, and also I'm going to show why we need object, and how to use object, and what the use of this object in case of software development, right? Cool. Let's jump into that, guys. So, all right. Okay. Let's think about we will start from, and I would like to start from creating an object. So in order to create an object, we still can assign the created object to a variable. So essentially, I'm going to declare a variable. I'm going to call this variable personal data. Remember, variables should be self-explanatory, right? like the naming should explain itself. That's the best approach you can take when, like, you describe any function, or you explain array, or you define a variable. The naming itself should tell you something about this data structure, right? It's just, potentially would save a lot of time later on to other software developers if they come up with your code, right? Or like, try to debug your code, or just try to understand your code later on, right? Cool. So guys, personal data, and can you see it? It's a curly braces. So essentially that's how you define an object. So essentially now if I just this one, it's already an object, but this object is empty at the moment. So now I'm going to fill this object out. So I will start from first name, and I'm going to give this to this first name value. I'm going to say Dmitry, which is my name. So guys, you can see first name Dmitry. Remember, first name in this case, it's a key. Remember, object data structure or object collection, it's always going to have key and value. It doesn't matter how many keys we have, we should have a corresponding value. So then I'm going to define last name, and I say key, then age 32. Yes, I'm old. It is what it is, guys. So another one, pass number, which is passport, stands for passport number. Of course, it's not my real passport number, but yeah, I still would like to specify to show you that you can do that. And nationality. Russian. So that's how it is, guys. That's the actual object, right? Congrats, guys! We defined our first object. We declared our first object, or created our first object. So now I would like to log this object out. In order to log this out, I'm just going to grab this variable, which is now we store in this object in this variable, right? So now if I run, here we go. We have an object with all the properties, right? Because essentially you can call this one property, property 2 of object 3, 4, and so on. So cool, isn't it? And one more thing really quickly. So we always can access each property of this object. In order to do that, we can specify personal, and by the way, this is the name of the object, right? Now if I just press dot, then straight away VS Code gives you all the properties of this object. And I would like, for instance, grab let's grab age. So now if you just run it out, here we go. We have like 32, right? Guys, one more thing. I think I didn't mention. Essentially, you can pass different types of values to these keys. You can see even here we specify string. We pass a string. Here is passing like not integers, right, or numbers. So, and also you can pass a method, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can pass a method, which is really important, right? Because it's another way how you can utilize objects. So guys, okay, cool. Let's define another object. Const. I would like to call this, just object data, I guess. Not self-explanatory, but it's just a basic example. But again, in real projects, please do it try to come up with the best naming as best name as possible, you know. The name should make sense, right, when you name stuff. So okay, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going say, okay, the first key is going to be show name, or even not like that. I'm going to say first name and then function. Okay, basically you can do that, but the problem is function, they usually should show you that the action, right? So in this case definitely it's better to say like show name, I guess. So show first name. In this case, like it's explicitly saying, okay, what this function is going to do. This key essentially is that the function is going to be stored in this key, right? You kind of can guess as a software developer because it represents action, and usually action is represented by function, or function is represented by action. So guys, now I'm saying function. By the way, I think I didn't mention, like in functions, it's not necessary to define a name of the function, and it's going to be anonymous function. And in this case, I think it's the best approach because we already define a key. So you can just call this function through this key, right? Cool. So and now I'm going just to log it out, and I'm going to say, so essentially it's a body of the function. So I'm going to say console.log and Dmitry key, right? This is my name. Cool guys, cool stuff. So, and I think I'm going to define h again, sorry, we outside of the actual object, which is not a good thing. No, it's not. We're not outside. We just didn't place the comma, which is a mistake, big mistake. Okay, h, and let's just define the last one. Again, pass number, I guess. And again, my real fake number. Here we go. So, and now guys, let's call this thing out. Console log out. Now let's run all this code. Here we go, guys. We have this. We can see all the stuff that's inside of this object, right? Show name. You can see it's a function, right? Then age 32 and passport number. So now, guys, the cool stuff I'm going to show you. I assume, guys, you would like to call this function, right? What you can do in this case. So in this case, I believe, okay, let's try it first. Let's try it like that first. So, okay, and now like that. So guys, even so we're using this key, you still have to use this you know, the brackets, yeah, because essentially I understand why, because still in this case this key is kind of representing like the name of the function, I guess. That's how you can treat it, right? But again, the most important thing, it's like a chain, right? We accessing this function, or we calling this function through this key, right? And the actual key, like the actual function, right, or this property is located in object, right? Which is a cool part, that you all this stuff is storing in the object, right? So I hope, guys, you got it, and if not, please try to understand this part. It's really important to understand it, you know. Objects, they are really, it's the essential part of JavaScript, you know. you're going to work with objects on an everyday base. Trust me. Every day I'm using objects. Every day you have to pass object back and forth if you call an API. And if you guys don't know what the API is, like, don't worry for now. Later on we're going to discuss about that. But just remember, like, all this data or all the information I presented in this tutorial is crucial for you guys, for your future as a software developer. Thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you follow my videos. Please like this video if you like it, actually. And one more thing, guys, keep watching. I hope you're going to keep watching, because the stuff I'm talking about is important for your future, guys, if you still at the beginning of a really long journey. Thank you, guys, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.